Today is July 26th. 26th of July. And it is 10 p.m. 10:34 p.m. I'm filming a speech because I made a pact with my boys that I would post X amount of things every week, and if I didn't, there would be a consequence. And I don't want to run 20 kilometers, so I'm filming this, and I'm going to post it tonight and get it out. I had a lot slower week this week, and it was less action and more contemplation is how I'd word it, contemplation. And I think that is what life is about. I was sitting there, my old habit is to sit back and then complain and whine that I didn't do everything I wanted to do this week and feel shame and guilt about not having done everything. But what's the benefit of that? What benefit does that provide me to feel shame and guilt about the things that didn't happen? And why wouldn't I just focus on what did? And so that's something I'm bringing differently is, usually in this scenario of which I would have gone so hard for a month and then have a week where it was less invigorating and it was less action. I didn't do everything I said I wanted to do. I'd feel shame, I'd feel guilt about it. And that would cause me to go on a spiral of shame and guilt, which would then make a second week bad. And as I've said before, maybe these things are, I'm not going to say that burnout is inevitable. I'm not going to say that these things are inevitable. But when they do come, because you don't control your circumstances, it was one night we stood up, me and my brother and my friend, we watched a podcast, 3.5 hour podcast, and that made me stay up late. And then that caused a domino effect throughout the week, which I didn't wake up at 4 a.m. the next day. And then the next day I had a dinner at 9 p.m. and then I didn't wake up at 4 a.m. that day as well, right? So that caused a domino effect going into the week, and then I went to my grandparents, and then I was at my grandparents, I didn't do much work there, and then I got back, and I had to do some work, and then it caught up. But instead of going back to my usual programming where I'd sit there and I'd feel shame and guilt about not having done the things that I wanted to do, and instead, I'm now sitting here and I'm coming to acceptance and I'm focusing on what did happen and now looking at that and building strategy around what did happen in order to make it not happen again. And that's what you should do. When things do not go your way, you don't sit there and feel shame and guilt and wish it didn't happen, because that doesn't do anything, that doesn't change anything. What changes everything is by developing a strategy or or contemplating why these things happened, what happened, and figuring out how to avoid it from happening again. You don't benefit from not having done something and sitting there and feeling shame and guilt about not having done that thing. That doesn't provide you any value. You need to stop being shameful and guilty about something that you said you wanted to do and you didn't do it. Figure out why you didn't do it and make sure it doesn't happen again, right? And to route back why I'm making a speech at 10 p.m. on a Sunday when I have to wake up tomorrow early is because I made a pact, and as a man, you have to be a man of your word, and I am. And I made a pact with my close friends who I respect very much, Sash and Seth, and I sat here and I said, I'm going to post 4 speeches a week, 2 business videos a week, a newsletter every week, a weekly vlog, if my editors get it into me, a reel every day, 5 trial reels a day. And that's just the content aspect, right? And I came to Sunday and I hadn't filmed. I needed to post 3 speeches. I needed to make 2 business videos. I needed to write my newsletter, and I needed to make a reel for the day. And it was 5 p.m. And so what did I do? I fucking did it because I said I would do it. And now I'm going to get all this posted by 12 tonight. And I'm going to have done what I said I'm going to do. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because as a man, as a woman, it is very important to align yourself with people that you respect enough to uphold your word with until your word is strong enough against yourself. Because it is very difficult to sit there and say to yourself you are going to do something and hold it to you because your word is iron. And that is a skill you have to develop, and it's a skill I'm developing. But it's much easier when I have an external factor weighing on me, backed with a consequence, because who am I going to sit there out of the 3 of us? I'm the one that fails after 2 months. I'm the one that fails. I'm the one that has to do my consequence. No, we've been doing this for 2 months. You think I'm going to be the one that loses? No, I'm not going to run the fucking 20 kilometers. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna make all the shit I need to do, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done because I said I was gonna do it. And it's very important in this world that you do what you say you are going to do. And if you put your heart and conviction into those words, you must do what you're gonna do. Otherwise, those small losses and those small betrayal of your truth and the things you say, your mind will begin to believe you are a liar. And it will want to prove to you that you are a liar, which will make it harder to do the things that you say you want to do. Your mind is programmed to color things differently to find success in whatever it is you're chasing. If you are training it to lie to itself, when you say you are going to do something and then you don't go and do it, you're training your brain to become a liar. When you say to yourself you're going to do something, and with your track record that you haven't done before, it will go and become... It will do everything in its power to affirm that you are a liar to yourself, because that's what it's looking for. That's what it's focused on. And if you changed it, and yes, it's something you have to build up, and yes, it will switch like this. It can. You sit there and you say, no, I am a man of my word. My word is iron. What I say, I will do. And you begin to do exactly what you say, and eventually your mind will reprogram itself to where it has to do what you say you are going to do because it wants to prove itself right. It wants to succeed. Right? And the big topic I really want to talk about is because other people in my situation would have complained. They would have been like, oh my God, I only woke up one day of the week at 4 a.m. today when I said I was going to wake up at 4. I didn't do everything I said I wanted to do. I didn't make as much progress as I wanted to. But what if you gained progress in other aspects that you just weren't paying attention to? Right? In life, you never lose. You never lose. Because when you lose, you always gain something. And to gain something is a contradiction of the word losing, so you cannot lose. When you lose something, you gain sadness, you gain depression, you gain motivation, you gain courage. Whatever it is you gain something. And from when you gain something, you can find value in that thing. So next time you go through a path of which you wish something else would have happened, don't focus on what could have been, focus on what did happen. And learn from what did happen, because that will give you far more benefit than focusing on what didn't, because that is tangible. What did happen? I watched that podcast, and then I didn't wake up at 4 a.m. the next day, and then I had dinner that night scheduled when it should have been scheduled for Thursday, and then I didn't wake up at 4 a.m. again. Right? So it's very, very important you remove shame and guilt from who you are, because they do not provide you value, and you've been so programmed to believe in shame and guilt so heavily because shame and guilt is how they attack you. When you sit there and you feel shame about an action, when you feel guilty about an action, you will go into such a dark, low energy frequency that does not benefit your goals, does not benefit anything you do, and it will sprout self-doubt within yourself. Because when you say you're going to do something and then you don't end up doing it, or you don't do it as well, you're going to feel guilt about it, you're going to feel shame about not doing it as well, and then you're going to feel self-doubt whenever you go to do that thing again. I do not doubt myself going into next week waking up at 4 a.m. Other people in my scenario would sit there and go, oh, well, I only woke up 2 days of the week that week, and then I did that and I did that. Why would I have to do it next week? I don't have to. No, I don't, because I have faith in myself, and I understand myself, and I know myself. And I'm not going to feel shame about not having done those things. No, I'm going to find value in not having done those things. I'm going to find gratitude in not having done those things. What did I learn outside of doing those things? What did I learn from what did happen? And I'm going to take that and bring it into my life and bring it into next week. And I'm going to do what I said I was going to do, regardless of what happened last week, regardless of what I did and didn't do. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because it is so important in today's world that you do not allow yourself to fall into a victim mindset of which you do not gain, you lose, you fail, and you do not gain anything from losing and failing. Everyone fucking knows that you gain the most when you fail. When you gain the most when you lose. I've said this time and time again. Over and over. That was my biggest takeaway from the week. Because I understand that the way I've been programmed and the way I've been operating in life has not benefited me. And this is how quickly I evolve. You know, sometimes I'll sit here and I'll say things on speeches that I'll disagree with a week later, but I do not fear sitting here and saying what I believe in the moment and then it changing later. I don't care to speak my mind. I don't care. I have faith in what I'm saying now, right? I don't operate from a place of self-doubt, shame, guilt. And I did before, and that's why I'm able to, you understand, I understand these things intimately, that's why I speak on them. That's why I say depression isn't real. That's why I say sadness brings you value. That's why I say pain is inevitable, but you find so much in pain, you grow the most in pain. Your body does not heal itself without a wound. But all of a sudden when you have a wound, your body grows all these cells and grows everything to help it heal. You grow. And you know, me sitting here and doing these speeches is a way of affirmation in a way, because, you know, me a month ago, 2 months ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago would have sat there and complained about the week that did, and I didn't do everything I said I was going to do, and would have sat in self-doubt and guilt about who I say I am, blah, blah, bullshit that doesn't benefit my goals. But now the man, me today, will go into next week knowing I'm going to do everything I said I'm going to do because I'm Frost Thurwell. And I trust myself and I know myself. Doesn't matter about the circumstances of last week. Those circumstances don't have to play a part next week because I know they exist, and I can change my strategy going into next week to avoid those very things, to avoid any guilt or shame that I felt in those moments, so that it's not about avoidance, it's about strategic balance of not embracing the shame and guilt, putting it to the side, and realizing that you don't need to feel those things and they don't bring you any value. It's very important that you have friends that you respect and people in your life that you respect, because why else would I be here at 10:30 when I gotta wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. tomorrow, right? Probably wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, realistically. Not gonna fight the body. But that's my fault because I could have done these things earlier, right? But I don't hold myself accountable for, it doesn't matter. I understand what I could have done, but I didn't. So I'm not holding on to it like it defines who I am because I didn't do it earlier. It doesn't define me. It's what happened. It's not who I am. What happened does not just define who you are. What defines who you are is what you do in the moment and who your future self is. Okay? Don't let your past define you. You've been told that your entire life that, you did this before, so you're probably this now. You can change anything you fucking want at any given moment. You have complete control of your thoughts. You have complete control of your reality. Please understand that you can truly think and believe however you want. There is no definite truth. There is nothing like that. You have been told your entire fucking life, ever since you were raised, that you have to think within these lines and these borders that society has outlined, and any thought process with outside that is wrong, is incorrect. But what defines those things? The people that have lived before you? Why? If they do not bring value to the goals that you want to achieve and your purpose, why would you give them power? Why would you subscribe to them? Why would you sit there and subscribe to something that does not benefit you whatsoever? You wouldn't. It doesn't make sense. That is your programming, and that is what you have to discover that is embedded in your brain, and ask yourself, why do they want me to think like this? Why do they want me to believe in depression? Why do they want me to live in fear? Why do they want me to feel shame? Why do they want me to feel guilt? Why do they want me to believe in self-doubt? Because all of those things do not help you become the person you are meant to be. Why do they treat me as one of many compared to an individual? Because they do not want you to find power in being you. They want you to be one of many, one of everyone else that just does what they want you to fucking do. The moment you're an individual, the moment you have control of your reality, and the moment you realize and you actually grasp that you have awareness. Step number one is awareness. You need to understand that you are here. This is your reality. You have full control of your thoughts and your beliefs, and you have full control of your programming, and you can change those things. You can. And it all starts with awareness and understanding who you are, what you want to do, who your future self is, define that, action upon who your future self is, and change your thoughts and your beliefs according to who you want to be, and realize that you are an individual. You're not one of them because they want you to be one of them. Fuck that. Be you. It irritates me. I'm fucking irritated because I sit there, and even when I go see my fucking family in Montreal, right, I see these kids that are my age that are stuck in school, and I ask them what they want to do in their life. They're going to be a history teacher for the next 50 years of their fucking life. What am I going to talk to them about? You think they were born to be a history teacher and that's it? Maybe they were born to be a teacher, but a history teacher at that? To work in the system and undermine all of these people and sit there and work like an ant? You were created to be that? Question yourself. Question your reality. Question why you are put on this path that society has put you on. Why do they want you down this path? And the more you go down the questions of why, the more you go down the rabbit hole of the path they've set you on, you realize how much bullshit is littered within it. And where the destination really takes you is freedom when you're 70, and at that, you don't even own anything ever. You don't own anything ever. They sell you a dream that you own something when you're older, that you can be a millionaire when you're older. You have a house and kids and family when you're older. Look at the society that we're in now. We can't have those things. We're not like our parents. Those things are not achievable for you. Relinquish those ideas and realize that you have to take full control of your reality if you want to play in this game in today's world, in this arena. You have to take full control of your reality. And you have to realize that you have to make decisions that are scary, that are outside societal norms, even though they're less scary options, because to me, it is fucking terrifying to sit there and be a history teacher for 50 years. God bless that woman. I don't hate her. God bless her. I hope she has an amazing life, and I hope she does what she wants to do. But fucking for me, personally, to be a history teacher for 50 years is more fucking terrifying than taking a risk to drop out of fucking school. Why do I want to be a history teacher for 50 fucking years? Are you kidding me? You want to be a history teacher for 50 fucking years? It's way less of a risk for me to drop out of school and try to do something I want to do. It's like when these people come here and go, oh, how did you take such a risk? It's like, in my brain, I don't even comprehend me dropping out of school as a risk because your life is worse than mine. I would never want to be like you. I would never want to be in the system, a history teacher for 50 years. To me, it was illogical to not drop out of school. It didn't make any sense not to. Why would I not? That is more terrifying than fucking whatever decision society said I'm making is scary. It's not. It's only scary because no one else has done it. Because everyone's so used to going to school, getting a job, retiring, and then not even owning the house they live on, because if they run out of money and they can't afford property tax, their house is fucking gone. You can't afford your kids, they're fucking gone. They get taken away from you. You don't own anything. Except for yourself. And that's what they don't want you to realize. I just find it so funny that people sit there and they think that me dropping out of school was the scariest decision of all time. The reason why I embrace it and I say it's the biggest risk I've ever taken is because according to society, according to you, it's the biggest risk I've ever taken. To me, it was the easiest decision I've ever made. It was the biggest risk I could have ever taken was staying in school. Do you understand that? Can you see what I'm saying to you? Do you understand that everything is bullshit? Everything is bullshit. Everything society's outlined is bullshit. It was less of a risk for me to leave the system because it made no sense to stay within it. It is illogical to me to be within the system. It's more of a risk to stay in it. Can you see the perspective that I have on that? Can you understand that? And when you understand that, you realize how much the dream that they've been selling you, the dream that your parents have been sold, that your parents sell to you because that's what they've been told, that this society that they've built is what it is completely littered with bullshit. Everything that you know and everything that is completely and utter bullshit. It is all just fragmented lines put together to look like a structure, to look like a system. Nothing holds this together beside them having control of everything and making everyone believe that these lines exist, that these borders and structures exist. And the true smart individuals will look at society and they'll realize that none of these lines and borders that society has predetermined actually exist. And everything is fucking bullshit. And you have complete and utter control of your realm, of your world. You are the main character in your story. You are the main character. Everyone else is just a side character in your story. You get to decide. You have full control. It's so exciting. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can achieve anything you fucking want just by believing you can. Everything can be yours. Everything and more can be yours. You can go to the moon. You could own 100 tigers. You can do anything you fucking want. Everything that society has told you, the dreams that your parents have been sold, are completely and utterly littered with bullshit. All these lines and borders they've designed, they're completely fake. Everything that you know is bullshit. And you can just do anything you fucking want. Everything is at your fingertips. All you have to do is wake up, fight the programming, realizing why they want you to think this way, how it makes you more beneficial to them, and do everything that makes you less beneficial to them. Say fuck you to their society, fuck you to their programming, and take what you fucking want in life. Because that's all it is. You want something, and you fucking get it. Change your beliefs, change your actions that help you get what you want. That fucking simple. And take huge fucking risks that society deems as risks. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you all the best. Thank you for listening to another Thirlwell speech.